Hello, it's Toyah here. I am so excited to tell you that my new album, Posh Pop, will be out on the 27th of August. And you will be able to get it in CD, on vinyl, and a very special CD plus DVD edition with a video for all 10 songs, directed by my good self, starring my good self, Bobby Willcox, aka Robert Fripp, and Simon Darlow. It's from my heart to you, and you can now pre-order Posh Pop as of this very minute. Enjoy, it's from the heart. Lots of love from Toyah.
Time again. It's Toyah and Robert, your deeply unqualified agony aunts, here to shovel you another pile of useless answers from your unqualified to only a few of your many on fire burning questions.
Well, the thing is, we've been doing this for a year now, so we're getting more qualified, don't you think?
No.
Ben, you ask, I'm keeping the dream alive and I'm 92 now. Ben, you are our hero.
It's astonishing. There is a part of us which Ben demonstrates which is outside time.
Yes.
And how to access that? Perhaps through our inner child, play, spontaneity, to connect with that eternal something within.
Connection, friendship, because Ben, at 92, let's face it, even us at our ages, I'm in my 60s, my husband's in his 70s, we have to find new friends. So Ben, connection, this is obviously working for you. Speaking, I'd like to just point to the back that we are supporting men here today. Are you kicking me for a reason?
No, I didn't mean to.
Okay.
My wife's toes are especially sensitive because she's been stubbing her toes all week and has just stubbed them. Screams. I was down below putting out guitars.
If you can see the colour of my toes.
Horrible
anyway,
screams.
Ben, this is about you. We are encouraged and we're represented in the media as people who stop living after 50. And I don't think that's the correct way to interpret the message. Life is a journey from the moment we're born to the time we decide to leave this planet. It's all a learning curve, it's all a learning journey, and every experience we have is eternal and stays with our soul for eternity. No matter what religion you are in and what you believe, everything we experience is eternal. It remains that way and it stays connected to our eternal soul. So Ben, you have a right at 92 to be living the dream and to be connected to life, and your example, I hope and pray, encourages others to believe that no matter what happens to our physical body, we have a right in our inner body to stay connected to this beautiful universe. And Ben, thank you so much. Great, great Ben.
Ben, you are a new hero in our home. Bless you.
Damien, 0505. What was the technical issue that caused pixelation in Sweet Dreams on Sunday lunch? Okay, well, we had a debate about this. Firstly, Sweet Dreams is related to Annie Lennox, and we thought she wouldn't be grateful for my boobs to be flashed around the world with her song. And we felt that by pixelating, that we were actually sending out a message about what boobs represent. And I've written down, some women are allowed to show them in the context of fashion, but they're not allowed to in the context of mothering, breastfeeding, Even in love scenes, sometimes breasts must be hidden. And I believe personally, and I think along with many, many women, that we are empowered by our breasts and our bodies should never be judged. And the pixelation was to protect Annie Lennox. It was to protect all the young people who like to watch what we do, whose parents really feel we pushed the boat out too far. And it also, I think, made a fabulous comment about when is wrong and when is right to show boobs, when really they're part of the most powerful thing a woman has.
I'd agree with that.
Do you want to add anything to that?
No, dear, I think we best move to the next question.
Okay, when we send these films in to our wonderful, wonderful editor, who I'm only going to call Darren because he tells me off for saying his name, we get messages back, "Oh no, stop it, you don't need to show that much." And sometimes, because we've got a few songs coming up where all you can do is bare your boobs because of where they come from culturally in time. So, Darren, we love you. Professor Hamachi, I love this question. In an industry which seems to be fueled by greed and exploitation, how do you not let the industry overtake and consume you? Can you identify anything internal or external which has enabled you to be here in 2021 smiling and sharing your love and positivity with us?
What would you say to that one, lovey?
Okay, forgive me if this is about to enrage anyone, but sometimes all you can do to those who cheat, exploit and steal from you is go. For those listening, it was a little bit of a mime of expletives. I do not wish to offend our audience, but to those who've exploited us in the past, we are very, very honest, transparent, and when we feel exploited, we tell the people who've done that. I can't bear being exploited and even lied to. Now, Sydney, Fripp and me, we have a policy of no lies, and we are really honest if we feel we've been lied to. Now, a lot of young musicians are not in the position of being able to have the power to do that, but we are so independent in how we put our music out and how we broadcast that we can be incredibly transparent. Would you agree?
Yes. How to maintain this balance? On the outside, it's a constant battle.
Yeah.
Constant battle. At the moment, I have 3 disputes, one with Universal Music over payment of Kanye royalties, another with MCPS, and that's another issue, another with PPL, who deny that I'm a featured performer on David Bowie's Heroes and Scary Monsters albums, such as Fashion.
Wow.
Well, there we go. So, how to move towards relative independence. 21 years of litigation and grief brought me to a position of relative independence. But on the inside, what do we need? Well, first of all, we need a discipline and a connection to music. Where there's music, something becomes possible, even in a lying, thieving world. Where there's music, there's hope. And at the moment, music and artists, in my view, have never been more needed to step forward and say, it goes this way.
Yeah. And also, Professor Hamachi, thank you for such a beautifully written question. And it's been leading on to, it made me think about joy. And the one thing that we're very, very insistent on in life with everyone around us, if something does not give you joy or help you experience joy, or if someone cancels out your joy, then they're not the right person to be in your life. And joy is an incredibly empowering, health-giving thing to experience. And we are so aware that when someone expresses joy, they're connecting to the innocence of being a baby and a child. And you don't stamp on that and you don't cancel it out. You encourage it, no matter what situation you are in. And I've had a few people this week who are just not quite able to deal with what's going on. And I always refer them back to two books that I think reprogram you when you've been buffered by your joy being cancelled out in social situations. One is The Magic by Rhonda Byrne. It reprograms you. It's incredibly straightforward writing. It's 28 exercises to practice over 28 days that reprogram you and make you ask, what do you want in life and why? It's a question we need clarity about, because so many of us don't know what we want. Then we are vulnerable to those who exploit. And another one, absolute classic, Esther and Jerry Hicks, Money and the Law and Attraction, or basically they have their first volume, which is Law of Attraction. And I would say to anyone who feels that you're being exploited and used, go to those books and examine in there who and what you are, what you want, and what you want to do in your life. If you know that, it's actually almost impossible for you to be exploited, because that will set out the pathway and the questions you need to answer to survive. Robert, do you want to add anything?
This is hard. We're controlled and manipulated in so many ways to put a foot in the door to personal freedom, what to do. Very simple guide, the golden rule: act towards others as you would wish them to act towards you.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Now, we've got a few questions that are mainly about you, and they're very, very good. Jacket B, I would be very interested to know detailed circumstances in which Mr. Fripp played with a little drunk or stoned band member. Joe T asks exactly the same question as well.
This isn't a series of happy stories. We can laugh and jest about it.
I wasn't there, so I'm laughing. I'm sorry.
Well, I remember the very first time I realised I was playing with a musician on stage who wasn't able to honour the demands and the responsibilities of a musician playing in front of an audience. It was at the Marquee Club in 1969 in the King Crimson summer season. And one of the players came up to me and said they'd drunk half a bottle of whiskey. And it was fairly clear to me that they were not going to be on stage that night. And the show had already died. Now that is the first. There are lots of other stories I can tell. And actually they're heartbreaking. A lot of them have to do with musicians who went further into difficulties with alcoholism and substance abuse. And some came out the other side, which is a happy ending. But these ain't fun stories.
Having been with Robert for 35 years, I realise if there's imbalance in a situation, he becomes incredibly vulnerable. And knowing that if you were on stage with someone who was drunk, you would not be able to carry it. You would not be able to cope, because it would be like this for you. You'd be on a boat on a rocking sea trying to play guitar. You get so unsettled when people aren't focused.
Yeah, it's playing with others in a band is a very sensitive, intimate yet impersonal situation. But within Crimson, if you like, the rules of the band are this, and they're principles of the band. One, the music comes first. Secondly, the band comes first. So music is more important than anything, and within the band, the band is more important than you. This has not always been honoured. But when you walk on stage in front of people who have paid money and gone through a lot of grief to get into that situation, and you favour your own personal interest rather than honouring your responsibilities, that makes me livid. Was that a little too strong?
No, we have a policy with my band: no alcohol in the building, no alcohol in the dressing room. And funny enough, none of my band drink, but occasionally they will crack a beer after a show. But I just say, No alcohol in the dressing room. Absolutely no.
Well, after the show, fine, whatever the guys need, and yeah. But before a show, you have to be there.
Yeah. Do you have alcohol in your dressing room, Ryder?
Yes.
And you can trust it's not touched?
Well, I mean, all the men in King Crimson are responsible characters, and my understanding is that it's not opened until the
Now,
end.
interestingly, when in the beginning of my career, there was always and only alcohol on the dressing room rider, no food or anything. And I realised that's for everyone that came and visited.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. If you've got people in an environment where you're supposed to be focusing on the music and the audience, and these people are getting drunk and having a party, how can you give a good show? It's as bad as drinking yourself. Yeah. I'm afraid dressing rooms at my show are not great fun. They're quiet, they're focused, they're disciplined. And that's the same for you. Backstage at a King Crimson gig, everyone is in their rooms practicing.
Well, most of them are, yes.
We have another question for you, Frippy, which Kelly 1. Please speak about anything about the Exposure trilogy. Exposure is one of your favourite albums ever.
All right, Exposure trilogy. This has to do with the time when I was living in New York between 77 and 79, and I was working on 3 albums primarily, part of this Exposure trilogy. Daryl Hall, Sacred Songs, which I produced, Peter Gabriel 2, which I produced, also known as Scratch, and Exposure, which was my solo album, written in, round and through with performances by Daryl and Peter on it. And at the moment, DGM is preparing a monster box set, the largest box set DGM will ever have released of Exposure, different versions of Exposure, different ancillaries, new mixes in Atmos by Stephen Wilson. And I have been doing extensive conversations with Sid Smith, who's writing sleeve notes for it.
Fantastic. And I've got an announcement for Fripp and all of you. Tomorrow's Sunday lunch is incredibly wonderful. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think there's only one thing we can do now in celebration of being with you, and that is burning guitar. And tomorrow, after tomorrow's Sunday lunch, we are premiering Toyah, Robert, Simon Darlow, Posh Pop, brand new single, exclusive video, Levitate! Lots of love. Hello, it's Toyah here. I am so excited to tell you that my new album, Posh Pop, will be out on the 27th of August, and you will be able to get it in CD on vinyl and a very special CD plus DVD edition with a video for all 10 songs directed by my good self, starring my good self, Bobby Willcox, aka Robert Fripp, and Simon Darlow. It's from my heart to you, and you can now pre-order Posh Pop as of this very minute. Enjoy, it's from the heart. Lots of love from Toyah.